let's just do a cheeky launch control. Here we go. Wow, 30, 40, 50. Are we going to get to 60 by this corner? Yes, just. Hey guys, welcome to my one take first drive video on Volkswagen's brand new Tiguan. This particular one is the Tiguan Elegance 1.5e TSI. It has a base on the road retail price of £39,300, and this particular press car is £42,800. We'll go through some of the options that it has fitted once we jump inside. Under the bonnet we have a 1.5 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. It's mated up to a 48 volt mild hybrid system, produces 150 horsepower and 250 newton meters of torque. That is mated to Volkswagen's 7-speed DSG gearbox, and all that power and torque is fed through the front axle alone. And Volkswagen claim that this will do the 0 to 62 sprint in 9.1 seconds. It has a large 652 litre boot with decent underfloor storage. I'm definitely not what you would call a Tiguan expert, but this very latest one definitely looks bigger than Tiguans in the past. Let's see what it's like in the back. Reasonable door opening. And when you jump inside, well, that's my driving position in front. I'm 6'4", so you've got loads of room back here. You could very comfortably get 4 large adults in here. And in fact, the rear bench, the middle of it, well, I can even sit in here and I've still got plenty of headroom. This particular car also has 3-zone climate control, 2 USB-C charging ports and rather large door bins. Should make it a good family car. Jumpy in the front, and it's really spacious up here too. Typical Volkswagen driving position, which is neither good nor bad in my opinion, but it's definitely going to fit all shapes and sizes. The cabin layout and quality appears to be...
I am afraid the question is too hard for me.
This is what I hate about modern cars. As I was saying, the cabin layout and quality, fit and finish, seems to be pretty good. Of course, there are some cheaper plastics sort of hiding away, but none of them really stare you in your face. And like I said, the dashboard, the leather look with the stitching, etc., all looks really good. This infotainment screen is the biggest infotainment screen I've ever seen. I think it reminds me of being at home editing this video. It's just huge. It's literally the same size as my laptop, but everything else is good. The steering wheel, Volkswagen have always done good wheels, apart from the wheels with the haptic style buttons on them, but I'm glad to report this has got proper buttons that are inbound, so you're not going to foul any of those. Down here in the center console, where we have a nice little storage tray, and below that we have 2 wireless charging pads which fit the biggest phones. So I've got a Pixel 8 Pro with a quad lock case, and that slides down there no problem, and it's really nice and easy. Get in, close that, and you can forget about your phone. There are 2 USB-C charging ports down there as well, so there's 4 in the car, 2 there, 2 there. Cup holders, fantastic. Well, I saw these 2 because, well, you can't miss them. You also have another 2 in here. Looks like that maybe pops out as well if you just want to use this solely as a storage bin. There's a 12 volt cigarette adapter or lighter adapter in there if you need that, so there's power absolutely everywhere. Big storage bins in the front doors, and a smallish glove box. But on the whole, it feels really good in here because of this really tall roof line and all this extra headspace. It does give you a nice feeling of overall space in here, and I'm sure that would be great once again for the family user. Before we head out on the road, let's just have a quick look at the options that this particular press car has fitted. So we have Nightshade Blue Metallic Paint, which is 730 quid. We have IQ Light HD Matrix headlights, which is 580 quid. infotainment package plus, which is this 15-inch infotainment screen. So maybe if you don't get that, you get a smaller infotainment screen. That's 1,100 quid, and that comes with a head-up display as well. And finally, an electric release tow bar, which is about 1,100 quid. Let's get my belt on and figure out what this car is all about. Out on the open road, more specifically around some of Milton Keynes's finest roundabouts, and it feels okay. I mean, it does feel a little bit gutless, but it's probably just about fast enough. What I do fear with these really small, especially petrol combustion engine only cars, is when you've got 4 adults in here and a boot full of luggage, is it going to be fast enough to pull out of a short slip lane or a tricky junction? You know, you want that power and acceleration, and sometimes when I get in cars that don't necessarily have that kind of power or torque like a diesel would have once upon a time, it does feel a little bit but saying that, you know, I am very fortunate that I do get to drive a lot of overly powerful machinery like my M3 Touring that I came down here today in, and I'm just used to having that on tap. But it does take your head, or my head at least, a little bit of time getting around. But in terms of ride quality, feels really good. I think I do have a few settings down here on this weird sort of controller. I mean, it controls the stereo volume, and if you click it once, then you've got some drive modes. I've got sport and comfort, and I think that's about it. Oh, that brings the drive modes up here. So we've got eco, sport, comfort, individual. This screen for me is a little bit off-putting, but that's mostly down to the fact that, as I said at the start of this video, this is a one-take video. I've got this car for 1 hour, so I'm literally giving you my genuine first impressions. It's not like a regular press car that I'd have for a week and I'd have time to live with it and understand it. I mean, Volkswagen's infotainment systems are hard enough to understand at the best of times, and this is completely alien to me. I would need a few days to get my head around it, and I'm sure it's a massive improvement on some of the average stuff we've seen over the past 4 or 5 years. The digital dash in front of me is pretty clear. I'm sure there are different views that we can use. Yeah, I can cycle through them. Oh, I like that. Rev counter in the middle, speed digital right in the center. That's a bit like the older Audi RS displays, which I really, really like. And I'm gutted that they don't have them in their very latest RS cars. It stays relatively flat at slower speeds. It's nice and quiet in here. There's hardly any wind noise, even at 70 miles an hour on the dual carriageway back there. There's very, very little tyre roll as well, which you'd kind of expect. I can't imagine these tyres are much wider than, say, 205 section. Maybe they're 225s, but you're going to expect that. Goes all right. Let's put it into sport. Let's see if that makes any difference. I'm sure it's just going to hold on to the gears for a little bit longer. There we go. Sport. Just going past the beautiful Chicheley Hall. Now, that place hosted the first ever Audi press launch I went to, which was the B9 RS4. Really, really good memories. I also filmed my first drive video on the M2 competition, probably back in 2018, 2019 as well. Anyway, back to this car. Stop getting distracted, Joe. We're now in sport, and as far as I can tell, doesn't seem to have done anything really. I've got S5 down there in terms of the gearbox, so maybe it'll give me a sportier gearbox, maybe shifts a little bit quicker, maybe it would change down a little bit more eagerly. No, I'm still in 5th there. I do have paddles, so I can use them. Let's just put it down into 3rd through here. Foot on the floor. Yeah, there's really no point in driving this car in sports or treating it like anything sporty, because, well, it's not claiming to be sporty. So let's knock that back into comfort and drive it probably more like it's meant to be driven. the view I have out the front and the sides and the back is amazing. I mean, this is actually wonderful. I feel like I'm on a tour bus. And once again, if this was your family car and you've got kids in the back, there's plenty of glass to look out of. And I know that might sound ridiculous, but so many modern cars, due to their design on the outside, in fact, as we go past the Lexus over there, I'm not sure which Lexus that is, but if you look, a lot of stylish looking, let's call them family cars these days, have really raked rear roof lines, and as a result, and the doors tend to go up and meet it, as a result, the rear windows are really small and claustrophobic, so you don't get any light back there. You get the feeling of sort of claustrophobia if you're sitting back there, at least I do, and it really struggles. Considering this car doesn't have a sunroof, it does have a lighter headlining, which definitely helps, but the bigger windows, the space just feels really nice in here. And I'm sure on longer journeys, or with a car full of adults and kids, say 3 kids in the back seat, yeah, it would be a nice form of transport, a nice way of getting from A to B. In terms of actual driving ergonomics, as always, I touched upon it earlier on, Volkswagen driving positions in general, Volkswagen Group, apart from Porsche, they just seem to struggle. I don't understand.
I don't know how to do that yet.
First drive videos on modern cars like this, where there's so much tech and so many things telling you what to do and what not to do, can be very distracting. It's very, very difficult. But let's go back to seating ergonomics. And something I struggle with in all Volkswagens especially is just, where is this? I'm kind of sitting here, the steering wheel is in about the right position. If I bring it any lower, then it's too low to my legs, but then my arms and my elbows,
I'm not sure, sorry.
Oh my goodness, go away, stop. The drive select lever down here, so your gear selector, is almost like a column shifter, but it's not. It's like a giant indicator stalk that you twist. So you twist clockwise to go into drive, anti-clockwise to go into reverse, clockwise again to go into sports, but we can pull that up using this, I believe. Yeah, I guess it just frees up some space down here, but all they've done is added this circular iDrive looking thing that's definitely not an iDrive, which kind of is redundant because it gives you volume and drive modes. They're available on there, and volume etc is available up here. £40,000 is a lot to pay for a Tiguan, but as we've discovered, the Tiguan has grown up both in luxury and in size, and in today's world of inflated car prices, I guess 40 grand for this much practicality is probably pretty good. The underwhelming bits for me, that engine, I'm sure it's quite efficient when you just cruise.
The voice assistant has been cancelled because it has been paused for a long time.
The amount of times that voice activation has interrupted me in this short drive has driven me crazy. But once again, I'm sure and I'm hoping that you can shut that down for good, because it would drive me absolutely up the wall. The little 1.5 litre turbocharged petrol engine does struggle a bit with the weight of this car. I'm guessing it's 1800 kilos with me in it, and as we talked about, once it's fully laden, it's only going to feel worse. And I think that's something we're really going to miss with turbo diesel engines, because although on paper a turbo diesel Tiguan from 10 years ago might have had less than 150 horsepower, it was lighter for one, but it would have had more torque and more available torque. It would have just felt punchier, it would have felt faster more of the time, and that's something that you just don't get in small petrol powered combustion engine only cars. Anyway, I think I'm going to end my first drive video here. If I was to rate this car in terms of practicality, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. In terms of driver dynamics and driver involvement, powertrain, etc., I'd probably give it a 4, maybe a 5 actually. The gearbox, to be fair, has been doing its thing without any fuss and without me even knowing. It's very good. We know the 7-speed DSG, especially the latest iterations, are very, very good. So I'll give that a 5 out of 10. And as an overall car, as an overall package for the money in today's world, I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. This is a new rating system that I'm going to use on all of my first drive videos. Let me know what you think about these first drive videos and whether you like the format. Today I had no choice, and in fact I'll be filming the new Passat after this and potentially another Volkswagen Group car after that. But I thought I'd be crazy not to turn the cameras on, because YouTube is the only way I can make a little bit of money these days, and so it made sense to do that. Guys, I'll see you at another video very, very soon. Cheers. Let's just do a cheeky launch control. Here we go. Wow, 30, 40, 50. Are we going to get to 60 by this corner? Yes, just. There was a tiny bit of wheel spin there in first gear. Wow, that is probably the slowest car I've tested acceleration wise in a long time anyway, since I owned my smart car many years ago. That would not blow the skin off a rice pudding.